Almighty God, who in thy infinite wisdom and providential goodness has appointed the offices of rulers and councils for the welfare of society and the just government of man, we beseech thee to behold with thy abundant favor, as thy servant whom thou hast been pleased to call to the performance of such important trusts in the Commonwealth of Dominica. Let thy blessing descend upon us here in this parliament assembled, and grant that we may, as in thy presence, treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote thy glory and honor, and to advance the good of those whose interests thou hast committed to our church, all which we ask in the name and for the sake of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Hey, Miriam. Mr. Speaker, I find Miriam looking white. What? Mr. Speaker, morning to you. Morning to everyone. I beg to move that under item 6, which is presentation of papers, to insert a new sub-item. That is the medium-term debt strategy for fiscal years 2025-2026 to 2027-2028, and annual borrowing plan for fiscal year 2025-2026 as Roman numerals 4, and the other sub-items under that item be renumbered accordingly.
Seconded, Mr. Speaker.
It has been moved and seconded that a new sub-item, that is medium-term debt strategy for fiscal year 2025-2026 to 2027-28, and the annual borrowing plan for fiscal year 2025-2026 as Roman numeral number 4, and the other sub-item under that item be renumbered accordingly. Those in favor? Those against? The ayes have it.
Speaker, if you allow me, I would like to, on behalf of the country and of course the Parliament, to pay homage to the former President of the Republic of Cuba, Fidel Castro, who would have been 100 years this year. We remember Fidel Castro for his extraordinary commitment to the liberation of so many peoples across the world, in Africa and elsewhere, and his own contribution to humanity in healthcare, research and development, with pharmaceuticals in particular. There is really no country in the world who was not touched by his policies and his programs in a very meaningful way. And we in Dominica know all too well of his generosity and his contribution to economic and social development. And we will always have fond memories of President Fidel Castro. And so we extend to his family and of course the government and people of Cuba our appreciation, our respect, and our continued friendship. If you allow me, Mr. Speaker, I would like for us to stand in a moment of silence in recognition of the contribution and the life of Fidel Castro. Thank you. May his soul and the soul of the faithfully departed for the mercy of God rest in eternal peace. Thank you.
Obituary. I know that we have taken an approach where in regards to obituary, we usually talk about the death or send condolences to people privately. Although we have said that maybe the parliament should focus on maybe people with direct interest or impact on parliament. But I wanted to, with the leave of the house, I wanted to, although as I've said, we should maybe focus on people in parliament, but a situation happened which is dear to my heart. So I would like to, with the permission of parliament, to extend my condolences to the Prince and Batu family of Grand Four on the passing of our dear young lady, Kadisha Batu, who was my assistant on the project I have in Pokasi. So I just want to tell them to hold strength and take the opportunity to say that our Prime Minister, I've spoken to him, and the rest of the members of Parliament, we are with her and the family, and just hold strength. Just, yeah, it's really tough for me, but yeah, I just wanted to say that, place it on the record.
I would like to join you in extending condolences to the family and to yourself personally. I have met the young lady a few times. I know very well. So we stand in solidarity with the family and of course the entire community of Grand Fond. We shall be there with them in every way that we should. I know it's a very difficult time, so I could join. And also, as you give me the opportunity, I would like to extend my condolences to a constituent of mine, Bernardine Joseph, who died. She was a real cultural icon. I was fortunate to have been her dancing partner. She was 45 years my senior, and she was my dancing partner. When we danced at the Windsor Park Sports Stadium some years ago, and so forth. Yeah, so I'm a very fortunate guy to have danced with her. She's passed away at 98 years old. So I can extend the sympathy, but death is always a difficult moment for all bereaved, especially when it's a young person, especially when it's sudden. So certainly, we thank you.
Mr. Speaker, I too want to stand to extend condolences to the two families in Granford. The community is in mourning at this time, having lost two young people 1 day apart. Two young people who have or were yet to reach their full potential. The entire community is saddened by the death of these two people. But if it's one thing with the community of Granford, I can assure you that we come together at this time, and I applaud the outpouring of condolences, support for these families. And I want to take the opportunity at this time to extend heartfelt sympathy to Mavella Roberts, Camon Charles, and the extended families, and also for Noelina and Davina Prince. Davina was the mother of the 23-year-old. And of course, for the father, Mr. Bato from La Plaine. And I want to let them know that we are there for them. We are there to support them in this time. And we are all praying for them to get the strength that they need to go through this time of grief. Thank you.
Confirmation of minutes.
Be confirmed as circulated.
Seconded, Mr. Speaker.
It has been moved and seconded that the minutes of the meeting of Tuesday, 14th October 2025 be confirmed as circulated. Those in favor? Those against? The ayes have it.
I beg to second, Mr. Speaker.
It has been moved and seconded that the House be suspended for 10 minutes. Those in favor? Those against? The ayes have it. House stand suspended for 10 minutes. House resumes.
Announcements, Vice Speaker. Confirmation of minutes.
No, we did the confirmation of the minutes, sir. Yeah. In regards to announcement, I received 6 correspondence requesting permission to be absent from this meeting. They are as follows. In regards to out-of-state unofficial government business, we have the Honorable Roland Royer, Honorable Cassani Laville, Honorable Melissa Popon-Skerrit, Honorable Dr. Cassandra Williams, and Senator Oscar Judge. In regards to being sick, Senator Laurie Victor. So permission is granted to all the members who requested permission to be absent from this meeting.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table. 1. Schedule of supplementary appropriation for the period July 1, 2024 to June 30th, 2025. 2. Excise Tax Amendment Order 2025. Value Added Tax Schedule Amendment Order 2025. Medium-term debt strategy for fiscal year 2025-2026 to 2027-2028. An annual borrowing plan for fiscal year 2025-2026.
Yeah. Proceed.
Mr.
Honorable.
Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table. Solid Waste Management Schedule 7, Amendment Order 2025, SRO number 43/2025.
Government notices.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to give notice that at a later stage of the proceedings, I will be moving the motion supplementary estimates of expenditure for financial year 2024, July 2024 to June 30th, 2025, Excise Tax Amendment Order 2025, Value Added Tax Schedule Amendment Order 2025, and will be taking all 3 stages of the bill shortly entitled Supplementary Appropriation 2024-2025 and Highway Maintenance Act 2025, standing in my name on the order paper.
Statement by ministers. Introduction of bills.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the bill shortly entitled Highway Maintenance Levy Act 2025 be read a first time.
Highway Maintenance Levy Act 2025.
The bill has been read the first time.
Public business, government business, motion.
Be it resolved that this Honorable House approves the supplementary estimates of expenditure for the year 2024-2025 amounting to $108,510,123.97, the details of which are contained in this attached schedule.
Second.
Seconded, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to present the supplementary estimates comprising of advances made from the contingency fund during the period July 1, 2024 to June 30th, 2025, totaling $108,510,123.97. Mr. Speaker, Section 80 subsection 1 of the Constitution, as well as section 12.3 of the Finance Administration Act, chapter 6302 of the 2017 revised laws of the Commonwealth of Dominica, permit the minister with responsibility for finance to advance urgent or unforeseen expenditures not originally approved in the annual budget and subsequently seek the approval of the Honorable House for these advances by way of supplementary appropriation. The details of the expenditure are as follows. 1% or $755,470 was met through grant funding. 30% of $33,230,417 was financed with loans which were approved by Parliament, while 69% or $74,524,236 was funded by revenues. Mr. Speaker, over the years, the use of contingency funds warrants has declined as the government continues to exercise budgetary discipline and strengthen public financial management. Our government has managed the country's assets with openness, accountability, and prudent budgeting. This ongoing reduction in reliance on contingency fund warrants demonstrate more effective planning, stronger expenditure controls, and a commitment to greater fiscal stability. Mr. Speaker, the responsible management of public finances has enhanced our nation's credibility and increased confidence in our financial stewardship. As a result, more international partners are investing resources and technical assistance in our country. This support, driven by the government's fiscal responsibility and discipline, directly funds key projects that advance national growth and sustainability. Mr. Speaker, the following summarizes the expenditures by ministries and departments. The General Court of Audit of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia has generously provided a grant of $80,482 to the Audit Department. This fund established to support supreme audit institutions in developing countries and implementing strategic plans and strengthening their resilience through improved ICT solutions, has been used by the Audit Department to acquire critical IT tools and equipment, thereby advancing and modernizing the department and its infrastructure. We express our sincere appreciation to this support, which is already helping to enhance the department's efficiency, strengthen oversight, and improve the quality and timeliness of our audit work to the benefit of the citizens of Dominica. National security. Mr. Speaker, as announced in this year's budget address, the Police Welfare Association and the Government of Dominica entered into collective bargaining agreement in March of 2025, which included an 8% salary increase for the 2024-2027 triennium through 3% salary increase for the fiscal year 2024 to 2025, a 2% for 2025 to 2026, and 3% for 2026 to 2027. Therefore, a sum of $1,727,170 was allocated to the Ministry of National Security and Legal Affairs to fund the salary adjustments and retroactive payments to 541 police officers for the 30% salary increase for fiscal year 2024-2025. The allocation also helped cover some of the increments and adjustments to allowances based on the agreement. Note, Mr. Speaker, that in addition to the 3%, the 2% salary increase that was promised to the police in respect of fiscal year 2025 to 2026 was also implemented on July 1, 2025. But the contingency fund was not used as these amounts allocated in this year's expenditure estimates. Our government deeply values the service and sacrifice of the members of the Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force. We are committed to ensuring that our officers are paid fairly and on time because they play a vital role in protecting our citizens and keeping our country safe. Elections. Mr. Speaker, the passage of the Registration of Electors Act 2025 and the House Assembly Elections Act 2025, the Elections Department required an additional allocation of $1,028,800. This amount was used to make a 45% advance payment for the software and equipment procured for the production of the new voter identification cards. Mr. Speaker, these newly enacted laws mandate the Chief Registration Officer to provide every registered elector with a voter identification card. This Labour Party government fully supports the ongoing electoral modernization process and our citizens' desire to continue to have free and fair elections in our democratic Dominica. We therefore remind every Dominican of the importance of voting and strongly encourage all eligible citizens to participate in the voter confirmation process. Education. Mr. Speaker, government remains committed to preparing our citizens for the productive lives in a complex world. We continue to support this mission through significant investments in student development and infrastructure. For the 2024-2025 fiscal year, an additional $28,613,211 was allocated to advance the construction of the Dominica Grammar School. This project is being undertaken in phases. Phase 1, which includes the administration building, as well as blocks A, B, and C, is scheduled for handover in December 2025. This will make a significant portion of the campus operational. Phase 2, covering the other structures and external works, are expected to be completed in 2026. Mr. Speaker, through these continued investments, we are not only constructing a modern school, but we are also expanding opportunity, nurturing excellence, and securing a brighter future for the young people of Dominica. Housing. Mr. Speaker, as the government pursues its goal to make Dominica the first climate-resilient nation, a key priority is building a modern, diverse, and resilient housing infrastructure, along with an appropriate data system for the housing sector. In support of the latter goal, the government has received a grant of $674,989 from Build Change, a global leader in resilient housing. This will support the data and systems for resilient housing program in Dominica. The main objective of this project are to collect data to establish a statistically robust baseline on existing housing conditions, measure the success of improvement programs, develop practical guidance for strengthening homes for homeowners and builders, and design government-led initiatives to reduce the vulnerability of homes to natural hazards, including those intensified by climate change. Government expresses its sincere appreciation to Build Change for supporting improvement to our housing infrastructure and better protection for our people. Mr. Speaker, for the fiscal year 2024-2025, this caring and compassionate government provided an additional $28,045,055 to the Modern Resilient Housing Development Program. This supplementary allocation has enabled us to continue providing safe, stable, and dignified living conditions to our most vulnerable citizens. Mr. Speaker, we remain firm on the path of providing affordable, modern, and climate-resilient homes for Dominicans in need. Only last week, 22 families received keys to new climate-resilient homes in Bellevue-Chopin, under the Modern Resilient Housing Development Program. And a further 69 families benefited under the Housing Recovery Program. Mr. Speaker, we understand that home ownership is not just about having a house. It is about restoring dignity, strengthening families, and creating a foundation for both short-term and long-term financial security. This government will therefore stay focused on expanding access to resilient housing, ensuring that more Dominican families can enjoy the peace of mind, stability, and pride that comes with owning their own home. Environment. Mr. Speaker, the National Employment Program was established to provide targeted training and job placement and opportunities to our citizens, particularly our young people. Its main objective is to reduce the national unemployment rate to creating a practical bridge from the classroom to the workplace. To date, the National Employment Program has made a substantial contribution to the country's socio-economic development through its many interventions. In addition to the amount approved in fiscal year 2024-2025 budget, a further $15 million was invested in the NEP, underscoring the government's unwavering commitment to empowering our people. As of October 2025, 3,587 interns were engaged in the program. This represents a continuous economic stimulus as the NEP stipends flow directly into local communities, supporting consumption, small business, and family livelihoods. Between June 2024 and July 2025, a total of 291 interns graduated from the NEP, many of whom were able to secure permanent employment using the skills and experiences they gained through the program's internship component. This is a clear evidence that the NEP has become and continues to be an essential professional launching pad, helping to build resumes, confidence, and professional networks for our people. Mr. Speaker, I must confess that the National Employment Program has been and remains a true pillar of support for Dominica and its people, and this government is determined to further strengthen the program by providing other avenues for interns to upgrade their skills and achieve more for themselves and their families. Culture, youth, and community development. Mr. Speaker, an amount of $110,000 was required as a supplementary budgetary allocation to the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sports and Community Development in order to offset a shortfall in personal emoluments for the 2024-2025 financial year. Public Works, Public Utilities, Digital Economy. Following the approval by Parliament of the additional loan from the World Bank for the Disaster Vulnerability Reduction Project, East Coast Road Project, so that's from Boadiab to Hatton Garden via the Kalinago territory, contingency funds in the amount of $22,042,529 was allocated to the Ministry of Public Works to settle amounts in respect of that project. Mr. Speaker, I am pleased to report to this Honorable House that Lot 1 has been fully completed and a taking over certificate has been issued. Lot 2 is approximately 99% complete. The Castle-Bruce and Richmond bridges have been completed while work on the Pegua Bridge is ongoing. Mr. Speaker, this investment is vital to improving safe and reliable access for our people across the Eastern Road network, reducing travel time, supporting commerce and tourism, and ensuring that communities are not cut off in times of heavy rain or disaster. By enhancing the critical section of road infrastructure, we are not only ensuring day-to-day connectivity, but also building greater resilience to natural hazards and protecting lives and livelihoods across the eastern part of our island. Foreign Affairs. Mr. Speaker, the commissioning process of the 10-megawatt geothermal plant will commence in December 2025, and commercial operations are expected during the first week of March 2026. This landmark project not only represents a major step towards our renewable energy agenda, but also underscores this government's commitment to reducing energy costs, strengthening energy security, and fostering economic growth for the people of Dominica. We are reminded that in addition to government's investment in geothermal power exploration and infrastructure, government is investing a first phase of high-voltage resilient transmission network, which will connect the geothermal power plant and Domlec 3 hydro stations to the Fonkole distribution hub. This will ensure the transportation of our green and renewable energy supply from the Roseau Valley to the facility from which it will be distributed to consumers. Mr. Speaker, to support this venture, additional loan funds amounting to $1,187,888 were drawn from the World Bank loan for the transmission network, which was approved by Parliament. This project is expected to be completed in time for the commercial operations of the geothermal power plant. In summary, Mr. Speaker, all of the funds which were advanced were critical to the ongoing development programs of the government and the well-being of the Dominican. Many of the projects advanced faster than anticipated and would be more costly and not prudent to stop and wait for funds in the new fiscal year. In other instances, there were unforeseen additions to their scope. Hence, the reason for these expenditures. We therefore encourage all the members of the House to support the bill. I now commend for approval to the House the supplementary estimates and supplementary appropriation bill in the amount of $108,510,123.97. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The motion is now before the House for debate. Yes, Honorable Prime Minister. You may
Speaker,
proceed.
thank you very much. I want to thank the Honourable Minister of Finance for a very comprehensive explanation to the House and to the country on the use of the funds and the various projects in this country. I believe that all of these projects are visible for everyone to see in the country, whether it's housing, whether it's the road from Boadia for Castle Bruce to Canago territory, whether it is the geothermal, whether it's electoral reform and the confirmation exercise, whether it is the Dominica Grammar School, all of the things are visible. And I think over time, the government would have explained and given updates to the country on where we are with these projects, the money that we're spending. Some of those funds, we actually came to Parliament to get the loans approved, and we gave even further explanation in the submission, in the resolution that came to the House, motion that came to the House for the additional funds for all of its projects. Anytime we were giving homes out, we explained this project, Mr. Speaker. But I want to highlight some things that are in the supplementary estimates. The road from Boadia to Castle Bruce, and then from Castle Bruce to Pigua through the Canago territory is an extremely important piece of infrastructure. As a matter of fact, there's a Chinese saying that if you want to get rich, you build a road first. But for us, that is a very expensive venture. Building roads in Dominica, building infrastructure in Dominica is a very expensive venture. The Lord has blessed us, Mr. Speaker, with an abundance of water. But all of this water must find their way to the sea. And so they have to traverse distances. And so but that in itself brings a developmental challenge, a financial challenge to us. Because every mile of road you have to build in Dominica, you have to build a bridge, you have to build culverts. So just on this span of road, Mr. Speaker, from Castle Bruce to Pigwa, we've had to build 5 bridges, 5 brand new bridges, all of which are 2-lane bridges. But while we were building those 5 bridges, Mr. Speaker, we had to build 5 temporary bridges, Bailey bridges. And Bailey bridges are bridges that you can use as a permanent structure. We've had Bailey bridges for many decades in Dominica, and they're still standing. You go to other Caribbean countries, there are Bailey bridges that have been standing for years. So we had to build those Bailey bridges at a cost to us to ensure that there is communication, there's connection between those communities during construction. That you don't have people going to a river and then go back up to get there, or close the road indefinitely until the road is completed. So we had to do those things. So we had a design for the road. Based on the design, we went to tender, and a contract in the sum of $126 million was offered to a contractor. Work started and was advanced, and in 2022, November 2022, a trough system came and affected the east coast of Dominica. And that pointed out to us a number of areas where we need to redesign to address the observations made by the trough. And as a result, that helped increase the cost of the project. And just on this road, Mr. Speaker, just to give the country an appreciation of the challenge, because some people don't appreciate the challenge that this government has to confront when you build infrastructure. In that span of road, we had to build 74 culverts. Now, we're not talking about 4-feet culverts, Mr. Speaker. If you go to Sineku, and you see the depth of the culvert that we had to build, the depth, we had to start, the depth we had to start and build this up to get to the level of the road was an extraordinary intervention, a huge and dramatic cost to this project. But we had to connect Castle Bruce to Sineku and to the Calabar territory. Huge costs. These culverts are massive structures. Then you had situations where we did some excavation, it undermined the properties of families. We had to come in and build infrastructure, retaining walls, etc., etc. No time before this government came into office that people were being paid in the Calabar territory for their land. Because it was felt by governments before that the land is communal land. They're just a title. As a matter of fact, Mr. Speaker, the record will show that it is under this government that we started paying people without titles for lands, once they could establish ownership. Crop compensation, dramatic costs. I mean, when I see how much you pay a guy for a coconut tree, I say, but I start planting more coconut trees. I mean, I'm hoping the government can go and take my coconut trees from me. Please, come take them from me. Because I have about 160 coconut trees in the soil. I mean, that's a lot of money. I mean, we pay guys for growing cedar trees. They say they use it to bathe, and it has value. So I have to pay them for it. I mean, I'm saying this thing, it may sound funny, and it is funny, but it's a real thing, Mr. Speaker. And it speaks to the sensitivity of the government in dealing with people and their properties. So in this road, Mr. Speaker, 5 bridges, permanent bridges, 2-lane bridges, and we had to build 5 temporary bridges. And I can tell you, as a person who is largely responsible for raising funds for this country's development, I speak about those things privately and to people all the time. The sheer stress and the sheer demand that the terrain of Dominica places on us in respect to construction. So we have to, as a result of all of those changes, all of those considerations, all of those observations, the project went from 126 million to 226 million. And all of us in this country can appreciate what we could do for $100 million. And so people sometimes want everything at the same time. But I don't know if any family can do everything for their family at the same time. So $226 million. Sometimes I joke with the power reps for the area. I say, well, I could give everybody in this area $400,000 and let's move everybody. But the point is that investment, Mr. Speaker, into those communities have enhanced their life, their opportunities dramatically. More people are looking for land in Castle Bush today than they were 10 years ago. More people are building homes and doing farms in Castle Bush than they were doing some years ago because the road is easy to get to Castle Bush now. And in the Canago territory. The only thing that is safe in the Canago territory because people like me and you can't go there and buy land and build. Well, I may be able to claim some connection because the first community where the Canagos rested themselves was in Vacas, so I believe I have with me, so I could claim that, and I think the former chief told me so, Williams. But there's increase, and people are using the funds that we've played at 8 Bank at 2%, is it? The Canago Development Fund. People are using those funds to invest in agriculture and tourism, in home building. So it dramatically increased the opportunity. As a matter of fact, the Canago chief, then Mr. Williams, had suggested something which we may have laughed about some years ago, about a toll. And I believe that we may need to have a serious conversation about this toll in the Canago territory. We pay a little $5 when we're passing through to maintain the roads. But you go into Florida, you go into the United States of America, and every road they build, there are tolls. Every 20 miles or every 5 kilometers you go, you pay a toll in America. You pay nothing in Dominica. Nothing whatsoever. But the government has to spend. You understand? So we have to appreciate this thing. Just saying in Granby, Mr. Speaker, the Loubert, Pichelin, Granby Road. So we don't mention Pichelin, and Pichelin is a major beneficiary of that. So I want to change that language now. So it's the Loubert, Pichelin, Belle-Bishop, Granby Road. Close to $200 million. Close to $200 million being spent on that road. With 5 bridges, 2-lane bridges. The bridge that you see there at Snock Corner, Mr. Speaker, is the thing you go up and down. This bridge is going to be dramatically transformed. The challenges we had in Pichelin and Mitcham, this place is going to be dramatically transformed with those bridges. And by the boxing plant area, Mr. Speaker. 2-lane bridges. And if you see now, we have to build diversions to allow for continuous communication between those communities. Additional costs. And Mr. Speaker, the reality is, I'm not aware of any Caribbean country, Mr. Speaker, that is subjected to that natural circumstance of construction, the challenge of construction. Most of the Caribbean countries don't have a water crossing to build. They don't have a culvert to build. They don't have drains to build. Far more for bridges, Mr. Speaker. And so what this government has done in the last 25 years, where public infrastructure is concerned, roads is concerned, is unparalleled in the country's history. And so my reference to this thing is to get us to appreciate more of those investments the government is making. Every part of this country, every community in Dominica has multiple road. Multiple road. Concrete road, asphalt road. And with the rainfall, you always have things to be done. With people moving into new communities, we have to go and build roads. The private developers, they take your money, they don't put the roads, the government has to come into the roads. So we continue. We'll be resurfacing from, for example, from the Newtown playing field to Anchorage Hotel, Mr. Speaker, resurfacing this road. We now have to resurface the road from the East Yellow Block Bridge and the bridge down by the market to Auto Trade, resurfacing completely those areas. And then the next step, Mr. Speaker, hoping next year, 2026, we'll also do from Pocasset to Boadier. And from Sultan down to the bridge at the Glow Show, the York Valley Bridge. the York Valley Bridge. Spending this money. And so when we look back about Dominica, and look at the infrastructure, when we did the roads from Cane Field, Mr. Speaker, to now the Douglas Chelsea Airport, just when you drive, count the number of bridges you have to cross. And all of those bridges were one-lane bridges. We have to expand them to two-lane bridges. And the sheer number of water crossings that we have to build. And so this is the kind of investment we're making, and that now enables investment, opportunities for people. More people can come to your place because the roads are better. You can access your businesses, and people feel a greater sense of confidence. That is the objective. One of the objectives of the government investing so much in roads. And you recall, Mr. Speaker, we were criticized by some that people can't eat concrete. Because they were saying so in appreciation and in recognition of the sheer amount of money we were spending on improving roads. And so we understand this. And you know, even with the toilets, I appreciate the Calypsonian who wrote this song, the Scary Building Toilets. And after Maria, he recognized that this toilet saved many lives. Because they were all concrete and concrete roofs. And that's where many people survived the hurricane. On housing, Mr. Speaker, this is an extraordinary expression of compassion, of love, of caring, that anybody can express to any can extend to anybody. By providing somebody with a shelter, a proper shelter, Mr. Speaker. Proper shelter, Mr. Speaker. Raising the dignity of people. Raising the sense of pride and the sense of belonging, irrespective of who you are. And whether it's money we put at the aid bank at a 3% loan or 4% loan, or money we put at the government housing board at 3 and 2%, or through direct grants to families, or by selling the land at $5 a square foot instead of $10 and $12 a square foot, that is value of it, or building homes directly in the communities. And we've sought to maintain the same level of standards, the same conditions, the same designs, the same quality of work across the country. Across the country. And we have seen the kind of transformation this has done in the lives of people. That our children can sleep comfortably. That our senior citizens can no longer wait. I listened to my friend from Fonseca, Miss Ansem, and saying, when she was expressing her gratitude to the government and to her Lord, saying that, look, I slept in my house last night, I didn't hate the rain. But before that, I not only hate the rain, but I got wet by it. And I have known scores of Dominicans who have received homes, and I knew their lives before those homes, and I see their lives after the homes, and you can see a change in their whole body, in their whole thinking. But this comes at a cost. And these are monies that we could spend otherwise to address other issues in the country. But we have spent it on the people as direct gifts, and all of the majority of these homes are financed by the Institute Investment Program, with the exception of his loan that we took of $40 million US from the World Bank to build homes. And so when you talk about the Citizenship Investment Program, there's nowhere in the world where the citizens have benefited so dramatically from the proceeds of the CBI. That you give a Dominican a home of $450,000 at no charge to them from the Citizenship Investment Program. That is a dramatic investment, a dramatic gift, transforming their lives. And so I'm happy to see that we had a $28 million by way of supplementary appropriation, because we do not want to wait for, as the Minister of Finance is saying, for the next financial year to spend the money. Let us, as the money comes, let's spend it and build for the people, and properly account to the Parliament for it, as provided for in the Constitution and the Finance Administration Act. That's what we're doing, Mr. Speaker. And so we'll continue. There's still many people who are still waiting for the government support. And the reality is, the history will show us that no government ever spend those kinds of monies on housing. And I understand why, Mr. Speaker, because housing is not a responsibility of a government. A government has 4 fundamental responsibilities. Basic education, that is why prior to this government, when you go to age 16 and you falter in school, they send you out. Basic health care, you go to the health center, a nurse dress your sore, that's it. There's no sending you overseas for $250,000 to seek medical intervention. There's no free tests and free hospital care at the hospital, because that is tertiary, that is secondary care. It's when you go to a hospital, to a health center in the village, you get care for free. That's what government responsibility is. Basic infrastructure. This is why, Mr. Speaker, when David Junior Charles of the Freedom Party built the road from Pocasset to Melvin Hall, they narrowed the road and they kept the 1 single lane bridges. That is why you look at the road from Portsmouth to Hatton Garden, they're all single lane bridges that were built in the late 80s. Because basic infrastructure is to get to across the river. Not to comfortably get you across the river, to get you across the river. And that's what happened. That's what happened. That is why when we're going to do the roads, and of course the Chinese technical team are arriving here on Friday to look at this airport, this road from Portsmouth to Hatton Garden for us, you're talking about 26 bridges must be built. And 476 culverts must be constructed. Plus widening, plus slope stabilization, plus retaining wall structures. It's a massive project. That project is going to cost us easily over $500 million. Easily over $500 million as a grant from the Chinese government. So we have to understand this thing when we talk about infrastructure. So housing, so 4 basic responsibilities. Of course, national security. That's it. This government has extended itself because of the Labour Party's founding principles of all shall it, and ensuring that we raise people up. There's no glass ceiling. This is why this government is not opposed to the private sector making money. Because we want them to make money. We want everybody to make money. But we must always remember too that those at the bottom must be brought up. And that is what we're doing with the dignity of people. Are we weary? No. Because it is within us. And when the movement, the motivation is intrinsic, you can't get weary. You only get weary when the motivation is extrinsic. So we continue to press on and building homes for so many people. So many homes are under construction. The geothermal project, Mr. Speaker. We import diesel to provide electricity for us. And we recognize, Mr. Speaker, that we have a natural source of energy. And how do we get this energy? At a cost. Just to allow for the equipment, for the trucks to take the equipment to loader, we had to spend over $8 million widening the road, the corners, just for that. I wish I could have taken I wish a rubber band, Mr. Speaker, I go stretch it, and when the trucks pass, just let it back. But no, we had to spend over $8 million just to widen the corners to allow the equipment to get there. There's no other island had to do that. Our friends in Livingston have to drive 2 miles from the port. Straight. No corners, no bends. No valleys to go into, no mountains to traverse. And so you will find that the capital investment for this will be higher than anywhere else.
10 more minutes.
When you look at when I get to 10 minutes, yes, in a while. When you look at the transmission line that we have to build on the ground, from a distance, Mr. Speaker, everything underground. And you know trenching things is expensive. Trenching is expensive, Mr. Speaker. Especially in such distances. Especially in the kind of terrain where you have to cross and you have to do this and you have to do that. It's costly. But we recognize as a government that the movement towards renewable energy is the way to go for us in order for us to bring a better opportunity for our citizens, to enhance our opportunities for investments. Because whether you have a hotel or you are manufacturing, your major cost is electricity. And so it's not a movement that will end with 10 megawatt, but a movement that has started towards the march towards full renewable energy, Mr. Speaker. It's a movement we started. And I think eventually we will get to the full potential by 2030 of having renewable energy, covering 100% of our energy supply in Dominica. That's what it is. So I would want to wish that we as citizens will welcome that opportunity. Because unless you don't get rid of the diesel completely, you will still have a challenge. But we must look at the government's intentions. We must look at the objectives of those investments and to see whether those things are materializing itself. This is why, Mr. Speaker, when we brought in night landing at Douglas Charles, when we improved the infrastructure, this is why when we invested in hotel construction, this is when we provided monies at Aid Bank so that those existing hotels could go to the Aid Bank and get loans at 2% to improve their existing hotel plans. We said to the citizens of this country that it is those things, when they all put together and they come together, that is going to take us to the next level of economic development and prosperity. So when you have a 48% increase, Mr. Speaker, of tourist arrivals this year as compared to last year, that we're on the move. The fact that United Airlines has increased as, first of all, coming to Dominica, and having come to Dominica now saying that we need 2 flights a week, is a sign that there is demand. That there is demand. And that the fact that American came and they're now coming twice on a Saturday, and they're going to come every day, twice every day, Mr. Speaker, that there is demand. People are coming to Dominica. And these results are, this benefits as a result of the carefully implemented policies and programs of this government, Mr. Speaker. This is why I'm saying to this country, to allow this thing to work. You've seen it manifesting itself. And so some youngsters were speaking to me during the Creole Festival. And they said to me, scared, but that's how we want Dominica to be. Lots of people, man. I say, my brother, it's a movement. It's coming. And what's gonna take us to the mountain top, Mr. Speaker, is this international airport when it's completed. Because truth be told, Mr. Speaker, and other countries don't have anything above us in terms of natural beauty and other things and attractions and so on, except the international airport. And see what Douglas Charles is bringing with all its limitations. And of course, United told us that they could come, but they'll only come if we extend the runway. So while we build an international airport, sent to Paris, we had to spend over $40 million extending the runway. And so these are the real challenges that we have to confront. And you can know what you can do on the $43 million. Do the extension, they say, Americans say, we need the grooving of the airport so that we eliminate the abutment of flights, Mr. Smith. The aborting of flights. We have to do the stuff for what, $4 or $5 million, Mr. Smith. Just to groove the runway, just to take a machine and just groove the runway. I mean, I had to ask somebody, can we take a cold cheese and do that ourselves? I mean, save us some money. But they came. Once we did the investments, they came. And American will tell you that their cancellation, their abutment of flights has dramatically reduced, eliminated. That they're landing under extreme rain conditions. But we have to do those investments. So if you do not have a house yet, if we haven't come to fix the road in a community yet, it is because of those kinds of things we're doing that will help sustain us, that will help bring the kind of investments in the country, the kind of revenues in the country, that will help us do all of those things that need to be done in the country. Because the reality is, Mr. Speaker, there is no way you can tax the citizens of Dominica anymore. As a matter of fact, in the next couple of years, we'll see how we can even relieve the people of Dominica, the working people of Dominica, to reduce the burden of the income tax on them. So they can pay less income tax and have more money in their pocket. But those things can only come when we see the kind of further investments we're making start manifesting themselves, the kind of returns that will come, the kind of job creation. Because during Creole Festival, Mr. Speaker, you can't find no rental. And you know what the rental is telling you? And you know, they tell me that as a Prime Minister for almost a year, you know. They must, we can't rent a rental no less than 7 days during festival. You must take a rental for 7 days minimum, you know, man. Because there's demand. Every guest house, people renting their own home, people renting a room in their home. People with food and drinks make money because people come in. Because that's what we're saying. For you to grow the economy, for you to increase revenue, for you to have more money in people's pocket, you must bring people to consume. So the turnover can be faster, Mr. Speaker. And then we have the National Employment Program. This National Employment Program, I believe that, and maybe when I get some time, Mr. Speaker, I might do my own study on it, Mr. Speaker. I think the developmental economists and the economists themselves must do a research on this and to see how such a program has had such a dramatic positive impact on poverty levels in Dominica. That somebody who was poor yesterday and now employed, making at least $1,000 a month, is no longer in the poverty category. And you add, Mr. Speaker, a home to that person no longer poor. We have in our policy of economic and social investment and plans and strategy, Mr. Speaker, have dramatically dealt a serious blow to poverty in Dominica. Whether it's investment in a small business, giving a young lady a grant or a small loan at 2% or 3% to invest in a small business. Who was unemployed yesterday is employed today because of this intervention. So our investments, Mr. Speaker, are carefully curated with the intention of improving the lives of the people of Dominica, of creating more economic opportunities for our people. And this is why I say, and I say so with this greatest sense of sincerity, Mr. Speaker, we need everybody on board. This can no longer be, the way the world is going, Mr. Speaker, this can no longer be about United Workers' Party or Labour or the political party. It must be about Dominica. And it's about embracing everybody, irrespective of your position in the society, once they're prepared to put Dominica first. So that we can bring all of the brains, all of the ideas to the center. That when it goes out from the center, it touches everybody. So anybody who fooling themselves, you're gonna this is politics and so on. No. This is why, Mr. Speaker, I don't talk politics much anymore, Mr. Speaker. You recognize that. Thank you very much. Senator Parris says he recognizes that. I appreciate that. What's that? No, I didn't say that. He said true. I saw an exclamation mark. I said exclamation mark. True. If you have a question, is it true? No, I hear true. I hear true. You know, I hear true. But thank you for that endorsement. So it is a major, this is investment in National Employment Program, and so what, Mr. Speaker, there are all benefits to it because those in the beautification program are keeping the country clean and green. Those who are providing care to senior citizens and the physically disabled are doing a service to humanity. And in the process, earning a wage for it. And of course, Dominica Grammar School, investment in education. Major investments in the Roseau catchment area, Mr. Speaker, to ensure that every single child can continue to have a space at a secondary school. Making sorry.
Mr. Speaker, I beg that the Honorable Prime Minister be given an additional 15 minutes to wind up his presentation.
Mr. Speaker.
It has been moved and seconded that the Honorable Prime Minister be given an additional 15 minutes. Those in favor? Aye. Those against? The ayes have it. Honorable PM, you are given an additional 15 minutes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. The grammar school, the dramatic investments we make in education. But not only are we investing in the grammar school, we're also building some 6 additional schools with the generous gift of the Chinese government. Dramatically. As a matter of fact, Mr. Speaker, the Guru Secondary School will be turned into a center of excellence for technical vocational education. And the Tibo Primary School will be turned into a center of excellence or a center for people with physical disabilities, special needs people, Mr. Speaker, ensuring that every child, irrespective of who the child is, can have access to it. And I want to say publicly that the Tibo Primary School, that I have taken a decision and the support of the cabinet, that school will be named in honor of Vernice Bellon. So it will be the Vernice Bellon Primary School, a school for people with sick. And of course, in recognition of Mrs. Bellon's contribution to the country and to the Vickers community. And of course, we will speak more about this later down. Really appreciate the contribution. Somebody who stayed in the country all her life and working at the service of the people of Dominica. And I think it's appropriate that the country and the residents where I live recognize that service in a significant way. So we'll speak more about that later. And finally, Mr. Speaker, in respect to electoral reform, we came to Parliament, we passed the laws, we came to Parliament, we approved the resources for the Commission, so the Commission, and nobody can say that the Commission has no money to do things, providing them with law, providing resources. It is for the Commission, Mr. Speaker, as per the Constitution and the laws that have been passed, to effect electoral reform. And my urging to all of us in this country who are on the register of electors now to avail ourselves to the opportunity. We may have issues with the process or what is required and so forth. But until such time that the Commission may want to give reconsideration to its position, we have to respect its independence and avail ourselves to the opportunity to conform ourselves. That's a responsible thing to do. And so, but there must also be standards set so that we do not have a situation where the same criticism that were given back then, that you have the same criticism today. And so we have to avail ourselves. I have a problem with the form, Mr. Speaker. I've said so publicly. I told them so when I went to confirm that you ask me questions you shouldn't ask me. But for me to get confirmed, I had to fill it. I had to provide information. So I protested, yes, Mr. Speaker, but I went on to respect the authority of the Electoral Commission. And I believe too, maybe, Mr. Speaker, that's a discussion the country need to have. Delbert Paris and myself met with the Attorney General some time ago. We discussed this matter. The AG is looking at to see his engagement with the Commission as the Attorney General, not as the government cabinet person, but as the Attorney General, to see engagement with the Commission, to see what kind of movement the Electoral Commission can have in that. But I cannot instruct them. I respond to them like every other citizen. You understand? But no one can be denied the opportunity to confirm if they follow the rules. And we have to follow the rules. So while we are protesting, Mr. Speaker, we must avail ourselves to the process until such time that the Commission may want to change its position and its back. So that's my urging to us, that avail ourselves to the process, let us get confirmed, let us ensure, as the Minister of Finance says, that we can continue to have free and fair elections, that we get rid of the quote-unquote bloated voters list, that we can get rid of all the dead people, that if you're overseas and you're on the voters list and you don't come to Dominica to confirm that your name will be removed, and so we'll have a register of electors that I'm hoping at the end of it, when it comes to October 14th, that everybody will be satisfied with. And the only people who are there are the living, living, not the dead, just the living. Just the living. Just the living. You understand what I'm saying? But All I will say, Mr. Speaker, to political parties and those in leadership positions who have advocated that it is your responsibility as a party to mobilize your people. It is your responsibility. But this comes with hard work, it's come with discipline, it's come to a commitment. You have to want to work hard. You have to provide leadership to your people, guidance. And I think if I were to be asked for advice, that's what you should be focusing on. Ensuring that your members, your supporters have the IDs, that they got a witness to go with them. Mobilizing them. There's nothing wrong in if you meet a person coming to vote, to register, you give them a right to go and confirm from your hot son. What's wrong with that? So this is where I believe, and if you ask me whether the leadership they have the ability to mount that kind of, I don't believe so, because if you don't have the discipline, this thing, I don't know where leaders get this thing built that live on Facebook is just what you need, you know. I mean, if live on Facebook was solving problems, I mean, my brother, the world would have no problems, you know. Or just posting a picture or something on Facebook or on Instagram and TikTok and so on. If this thing were making life better for people, my brother, I mean, I would want to be live every single minute because the amount of responsibility that we have. If I can be released of all this by going on TikTok and live, it's fine. But we have to go and get people confirmed. You understand? So that we can ensure that we maintain the democracy of our country, Mr. Speaker. And so I want to say, Mr. Speaker, finally, that's money well spent. It is part of the continued implementation of the implementation of the strategies, the goals, the programs, the projects, the policies that will achieve this dynamic Dominica that we speak about, Mr. Speaker. Where life will be better for all of us in Dominica, where all of us can live with dignity in our country. That while we may not be able to get rid of poverty entirely, but we will slash it dramatically, Mr. Speaker. That if you're in the private sector, you believe that when you invest, you can make a return on your investment. That there's a facilitation, that there are the opportunities. You recall, Mr. Speaker, finally, when we invested in LIAT, I was criticized for it. And now everybody in the Caribbean asking for LIAT. And I told us back then when we were criticized for investing in LIAT and becoming a shareholder, that when LIAT goes, we will all be asking for it to come back. Because we knew that if LIAT did not come into our country for one day, it would be dramatically impacted. We thank God, Mr. Speaker, that we have Caribbean Airlines, that we have Win Air, that we have Sunshine, that we have Sunrise, that we have, well, they already giving us some sunshine too, so Sunrise already giving us some sunshine, Mr. Speaker. And we have Contour, providing the travel within the region. And of course, Inter-Caribbean, indomitable Inter-Caribbean, Mr. Speaker, you know, the great service to us, we thank them for that. That sometimes they have 2 or 3 planes grounded in Dominica to have early flights out of Dominica. That Contour is spending the night here so that you can get an 8 a.m. flight out to get better connections in international markets, Mr. Speaker. All of these things were carefully negotiated to ensure that we give great opportunity to our citizens and those coming into our country. And so we have to continue. We have to continue. And we continue to do those investments, whether it's in agriculture, in small business development, whether it is in tourism, agro-processing, you name it, Mr. Speaker. The government's tentacles is in every one of those things, ensuring that we can give a greater opportunity for our country. Are we on the right track? I say yes, Mr. Speaker, the greatest sense of humility. And one can only appreciate, Mr. Speaker, that if we're not impacted over the last 12 years with so many external shocks and natural disasters, and the sheer amount of monies that we had to spend to replace damaged and lost infrastructure, damaged and lost homes, what we could have done with that money, Mr. Speaker, and where would have been. And we're building an airport, and by God's grace, the airport will be completed, and this will be the only country in the world, to our research, that will be the only country in the world, Mr. Speaker, who would have built such a massive infrastructural project and not owing the bank $1. Not placing a burden on current and future generations, Mr. Speaker. Because our intention here as the current leadership of this country is that when we pass on the baton, that we will have handled the country in a better shape than when we received it, Mr. Speaker. And that's our commitment. So we are just here at the service of the people. And my hope and prayer is that we'll all recognize that the world has come in a dramatic way to be selfish, cold, and indifferent. And that you're literally on your own, paddling your own canoe. And all of us who are on this ship, we should be seeking to bail water out rather than drilling a hole in it. Because if Dominica gets affected, all of us get affected. If Dominica prospers, all of us will prosper. And we do not have to go back in history. We have to go back in ancient history. We have to go back to contemporary history to recognize that when COVID came, all of us were in fear. Every family was impacted by COVID. When Maria came, every one of us was impacted by Maria. Every one of us in this country was affected by Maria. And so, in this world now, Mr. Speaker, this is not about grandstanding or undermining or this and that. This is about country first and working together. It is left to each of us to be able to rise to this challenge and to put our hand up and say, enlist me. Enlist me in that task. Because at the end of the day, we have to make individual choices. So I am happy that we continue to spend, we continue to have friends who are still helping us in our economic and social transformation, that we have both foreign and local investors who continue to invest and take their and place their trust and confidence in the policy that the government is implementing, the programs, that it will bear fruit for them. I urge them to continue and to continue investing and so forth. And so we look forward to the prosperity that the Lord has written for us. But we've seen it coming. And this is about setting aside ourselves individually and recognize that we have to look for the collective. The collective. We have to guard against, Mr. Speaker, the spirit of individualism and selfishness, which come with development. The more you get developed, the more we lose the community spirit. This is why you're losing the coup de main spirit. This is why I'm inviting everybody to come to Castlebrook on Saturday, do something. So I'm inviting the opposition to come on Saturday at 9 o'clock Saturday have service. But you can go Friday to power wash and so on, before sunset. and make our contribution. Because the reality is, Mr. Speaker, most of us are motor car, driving. We drive into our gates, we close our gate, our washing machine inside. We have a 75-inch TV watching African movies and Netflix. And so we forget our neighbors and so on. So we have to pinch ourselves, always, and remind ourselves that we're part of a community. And that we have a responsibility and duty to the community. Whether it's through proper garbage disposal and management, whether it's to our parents and our grandparents, to our children, whether it's to the church, whether it's to the school, we must play our part so that we all benefit from this. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Pinard, you are recognized. You may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, you'll allow me to read through my notes from time to time, please.
Yes, permission granted. Remember, we're moving towards January, so next year we have to start practicing.
Mr.
Yeah.
Speaker, Mr. Speaker, when I look at these supplementary appropriations, I see that $74 million out of the total $108 million was locally funded, Mr. Speaker. Now, Mr. Speaker, generally we have about 58% of our local revenue coming from the CBI program, Mr. Speaker. So from the $74.5 million, given that we have about 58%, we would see approximately $43 million of those local funds would generally be coming from the CBI program, Mr. Speaker. So now this is a significant part of our budget, the revenue that we receive from the CBI. And so I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, you know, what is the situation with us if we did not have the CBI at this time, Mr. Speaker? And I am taken back to June of this year when I recall Dr. Thompson Fountain, the leader of the United Workers' Party, unveiled a 10-point pillar for his plans, he and his party's plans for Dominica, Mr. Speaker. Now, when we're looking at those plans that were unveiled, for example, some of it included increasing the minimum wage and reforming the tax system. We realize that the majority of those plans were either already well being done by this Dominican Labour Party. We're already well on the way doing those things. The minimum wage was last revised in 2021, and we had already stated our intentions to revise it again, to review it again in this year. And we are happy to announce that, as the Prime Minister said, the new minimum wages will be taking effect on the 1st of December. And thank you. And another thing he mentioned, Mr. Speaker, was the reforming of the tax system that would give easements to both individuals and business persons alike. So that would effectively lead to a reduction in our tax revenue, if I am to read him correctly, Mr. Speaker. But what again stands out after laying out all these things, I mean, those that made sense we're already doing, and the rest of it was just political fodder that, you know, playing up to his beats without any substance. But what stood out, Mr. Speaker, is that he also said that we in Dominica would have no need for a CBI program, for the CBI revenue under his administration. He said it clearly that we did not have need for the CBI, effectively confirming that if they were to get into office, Mr. Speaker, one of the first things he would likely do is get rid of the CBI program. So here you are, I mean, you're planning to increase minimum wage, you're planning to triple the NEP salaries, you're planning to do so many of those grand things, and immediately you're saying that you would get rid of 58% of our revenue sources, as we have highlighted in our recent budget. And you cannot, when asked, you cannot give any real way in which you are going to cover that lost money. You're speaking about investing in agriculture, in tourism, and so on. These are the things that this government, again, is already doing and doing very well, Mr. Speaker. We are investing significant monies in tourism, the international airport, our geothermal, sorry, not the geothermal, the cable car, our marina. All these are direct investments, Mr. Speaker, into the tourism sector. We are losing significant amount of monies from the same CBI program to fund the construction of hotels. And as we're on that, I want to just say big up to Mr. Floyd Capitolio on the recent completion of the CBI funded hotel. But Mr. Speaker, the fact is, here we have this guy who is aspiring to lead this country, effectively showing us that he really have no real clue as to what he's going to do and how he's going to do it in a way that can be sustainable for us in the future of Dominica. And so this just made me realize, you know, that we are in a place where we have to be so grateful that this is the government that is running this country at this time, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to look at the NEP salaries that we have on the NEP $15 million that we have provided under these appropriations. And as we speak of the NEP, I am again reminded that One of the things Dr. Thompson Fontaine said at that time was that he would transform the NEP into a skills, more or less, center, skills development center for youth. So I'm thinking exactly what does that mean? Is he implying that we, this government, not doing that type of thing for our youth? So what I decided here, Mr. Speaker, is I want to just outline some of the things that this government is presently doing for our youth. This government is the one that opened up universal education for all, way back at the beginning of this administration. This government is the government that is providing free school books, free uniforms, schools, school shoes, transportations, meals, tuition for state college. This government is the one that has taken millions of dollars to spend on universities all over the world to help educate our youth. This is the government that has established the Dominica Youth Business Trust. This is the government that has given that has made ways for full scholarships from friendly governments such as China and Cuba and Morocco. And this is the government that already uses the NEP to employ and train numerous and countless youths all over the country, including the government service, Mr. Speaker. So, besides that, this is, as we said, this is the government that is also now constructing 7 new schools, including the grammar school, as the Prime Minister just said, including the Technical Center of Excellence that is catering to developing the skills and so on of our youth. Beyond that, we have 5 other primary schools being constructed across the island. This is a government that is well invested in our youth, Mr. Speaker. So to say that you're going to kill our NEP program to invest instead in the youth, it's like you're clueless. I don't think maybe they don't have news or internet in Sudan where he was. So he probably don't know what is going on in the country, because I cannot understand how you can be, the first thing that comes into your mind when you're unveiling a plan is you're going to kill the NEP program to invest in something that we do in abundance. And you cannot say what more you will do. You cannot give any specifics. But also what stands out is the callousness with which he disregards the current interns, the current people working on the NEP, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the average person working on the NEP is a low-income person. These are vulnerable people. These are people that without the NEP, they have no real other source of income coming in. In my community, we have about 80 interns on the program, bringing in over $80,000 every month. And what this aspiring man is looking to do is just casually fire them. Because you say you're going to transform the NEP into a DYBT. Fire them. That is how insignificant the plight of our average low-income person is to Mr. Speaker, to Dr. Thompson, Mr. Speaker. So we have to highlight to the NEP people that this is what these people have planned for you. And you would be amazed, Mr. Speaker, that we have 1 or 2 people on the NEP that are supporting those people. I mean, that is, when you're talking about shooting yourself in the foot, I think we'd have to change that one to shooting yourself in the head if you have to be supporting somebody like that. Because you're depending wholeheartedly on an NEP program and you're supporting somebody that is clearly stating his intention is to kill that program and to fire you, Mr. Speaker. So we just need to bring that to bear. Mr. Speaker, the $15 million in this appropriation spent on the NEP is exceptionally money very well spent, and I want to give my full support for that amount of money spent here, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, in these appropriations, we also have almost $75,000, and another area, $28 million going towards housing. The $675,000 was to strengthen geospatial and housing resilience infrastructure, where we had a survey of over 600 homes being assessed for the valuable insight for homeowners and to provide valuable insight for homeowners and builders on strengthening and upgrading their homes. Now, Mr. Speaker, whilst many in the opposition would like us to forget the past 12 years, would like us to forget the trough Christmas trough in 2013. They would like us to forget Tropical Storm Erika in 2015, a storm that destroyed 90% of our GDP, a storm that killed people, a storm that resulted in us having to declare an entire area non-habitable, a disaster area, and we had to relocate an entire community as a result. And then that was quickly followed 2 years later by Hurricane Maria, a storm that destroyed about 95% of our housing stock, a storm that resulted in the loss of 226% of our GDP. Now, these are expensive systems, disasters that we have been facing, followed soon after by COVID-19, where we had to spend millions, hundreds of millions of dollars to protect ourselves and to be able to, ensure that our population was well protected. Mr. Speaker, these things have taken a lot of money. But central here is we have been battered in Dominica. Our location, while our location is ideal and will become even more ideal after the completion of the international airport because of our location, we equal access to north-south, and we will be an attractive location, for example, to countries from Asia and so on to come directly, and then a good hub to then move out through the Caribbean. So our location has some advantages, but the geography of our country, we have beautiful hills, we have nice valleys and rivers and lakes and so on. These are extremely big, but we are prone to disasters. We are very prone to disasters, and we have been taking a beating. So hundreds of millions of dollars on what we will call a low-income country, a developing country, has to be going to just always recovering from natural disasters. And so it was that following Hurricane Maria, our Prime Minister recovered. That cannot be the norm. We can't just continue. We'll never get anywhere if we have to just stay with that model. And so that was when the declaration that was made that Dominica would become the first climate resilient country in the world. Now, we had already announced our intention to provide 5,000 houses to our low-income, vulnerable citizens. So these houses obviously now have to be built in a resilient way to be able to withstand the natural disasters that we are constantly faced with. And so these monies that are spent here is in line with that, Mr. Speaker, to do our studies, to make sure that we have the best designs, we have the most appropriate structures that will allow us to be able to withstand the ravages of those natural disasters, and obviously $28 million in itself going towards the construction of those resilient homes, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, this is the Labour Party. This is the principles of the Labour Party. The Labour Party was formed to take care of and to help uplift the little man, providing a family that otherwise would have no means of getting a home with a home is at the heart of that. Mr. Speaker, we are sticking very close to our original principles, and that money, therefore, is money that is very well spent and is fully supported, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, when I'm looking at the monies that went to the East Coast Road, now the East Coast Road is approximately 27 miles, Mr. Speaker. 27 miles of road. And what we have here is the appropriations. $127 million was originally budgeted for that road, Mr. Speaker. But here we have an additional $32 million supplementary appropriation for that road, Mr. Speaker. Now, that is $159 million in total. That's a significant sum of money, Mr. Speaker. So I'm thinking, how much would that similar length road cost in one of our neighboring islands? So you're looking at Antigua as an example, Mr. Speaker. And I read somewhere that right now it will cost about $2 million to build 1 mile of road in Antigua. If this road here on the East Coast Road costs us about $160 million, that for 27 miles of road, it generally costing us about $6 million to build 1 mile. So it's three times the cost of what it would cost to build a similar length road in Antigua. So the extra money is here, the $42 million here would have been able to build 16 miles of road. That taking us to about 2/3 of the length of the entire road. Just the extra money alone would have been almost able to build the East Coast Road with just about 10 miles remaining. So that is to show you that is just to state, Mr. Speaker, how expensive it is to build roads in Dominica. whilst we have all this natural beauty that we love and it's giving us all these, great attractions and so on, it makes it exceptionally expensive to build in Dominica. And beyond the original cost of construction, we also have to spend significant more monies to maintain those roads, Mr. Speaker, because we are prone to the landslides and those different things that cause serious damage to our roads. So we have to spend a lot more to build, and we have to spend a lot more on maintenance. So, Mr. Speaker, it got me thinking. Most of us visit those our neighboring islands. And what you will realize is, despite all that, Dominica still have better roads than those other countries. So it, you understand? So despite the fact that it costing us so much more to build those roads, to maintain those roads, our roads still looking much better. Our roads still driving much better than a lot of the countries in there. To show you that, we are blessed in Dominica to be led by such an inspirational leader, such a person that can do those type of things, to have this Dominican Labour Party in government that can be able to take care of us in that way. Because, God only knows, for example, if we were under a less competent leader, a less competent government. We all remember what our roads was like before the Dominican Labour Party. I mean, we can multiply that by more, because back then they did not have the regularity in terms of natural disasters and so on. So if we had a different government and being faced with all those natural disasters and so on, then clearly we would not have money right now to either help people with their housing recoveries or to either build roads or to do anything. If essentially one might conclude that without this Dominican Labour Party, Dominica would be an almost failed state. So, Mr. Speaker, I just want to highlight that to show that why it was necessary to spend the extra $42 million. That, Mr. Speaker, money is very well spent, and I give my full support for it in the supplementary appropriations, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I spoke earlier about the education, what we're doing for the youth. What we're doing for the youth, the Dominica Grammar School. In this, we have $28.6 million allocated to the Dominica Grammar School, Mr. Speaker. Now, the Dominica Grammar School is being constructed in conjunction with the Technical Center of Excellence and the other 5 other primary schools around the island, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, besides the money being spent on the construction of the school, the infrastructure, we also right now in the process of modernizing our education system in general. So we're embarking on education reform. The education, we recognize that more needs to be done in terms of equipping our human resource to be able to deal with today's challenges. And so we are standing up to the challenge, Mr. Speaker. So the $28.6 million is once again another significant investment in our youth, in our future. That we can all agree is money exceptionally well spent. And Mr. Speaker, I fully endorse this amount, Mr. Speaker. Now, Mr. Speaker, as I conclude my short presentation, I just want to say that in Dominica, we are on the cusp of a new age, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we have faced significant challenges over the past 12 years. We have seen natural disasters. We have seen pandemics. And this has cost us hundreds of millions of dollars from our treasury, Mr. Speaker. But this government has remained resolute in our determination to take this country to the next level. And I cannot thank God, and I thank him every day for the blessing that we have in a strong leader, for the blessing that we have had to have this Dominican Labour Party running this country for the past 25 years. I thank God every day that as a population, the Dominican public recognize what they have, and that is why election after election, the Dominican Labour Party is returned to government in full force, Mr. Speaker. So I thank God for the wisdom that he has bestowed on our people. But what I want to also say in conclusion to all those people is that we cannot ease up now. We recently passed electoral reform laws in March of this year that will require us to get confirmed to remain on the voters list. For us to keep the Dominican Labour Party in power in government, we have to be able to vote them in. And so that is why I'm employing every single labor right to immediately, as soon as possible, go to the confirmation centers with your ID, government issued ID, with your witness, and please get yourselves confirmed, because come next election, we are returning the Dominica Labour Party to the government. And I want to say, God bless you all. God bless this beautiful country. God bless our people. And thank you. Thank you very much.
So, honorable member, I see you don't really need to refer to notes. So I like that. Let's just keep pressing on. Yeah, but I like your approach. I like how you did it. You stayed focused on the supplementary estimate, even if you tap in on certain things. So I want all members to recognize that it can be done. So again, congratulations on your approach. Keep it up. Yes, Honorable Paul, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Yes, I am.
You may proceed.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to make my contribution on the supplementary appropriation bill, which is before this House. Please permit me to refer to my notes, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, you heard what I said about
Yes,
next
Mr.
year?
Speaker. Thank you
Okay.
very much.
All right, let's proceed.
Mr. Speaker, I seek to address briefly the performance of the Ministry of Housing, which is very dear to me, the utilization of funds allocated for housing development, and the persistent challenges faced by vulnerable citizens, particularly those who have remained without proper housing solutions since the devastation caused by Hurricane Maria in 2017. Mr. Speaker, significant sums have been allocated to the Ministry of Housing for the purpose of constructing resilient homes. These appropriations reflect on the government's stated commitment to ensuring that every Dominican family has access to safe, durable, climate-resilient housing. Mr. Speaker, may I add that I fully support the housing program. However, I have a few concerns. Government has allocated millions in capital spending to the Ministry of Housing with the stated intention of constructing new homes, as I stated a while ago, and strengthening communities. Yet, despite these substantial allocations, Mr. Speaker, funds approved by this very parliament, none of which was spent in my constituency. Mr. Speaker, 8 years after Hurricane Maria, families in my constituency, that is Kulibi Street to be exact, continue to live in deteriorating structures, partially repaired houses, and temporary arrangements which were meant to be short-term. While other communities have received modern apartment complexes, climate resilient units, and housing settlements, which, Mr. Speaker, as I said, that I support the housing project, and I congratulate the recipients of these houses. Everyone deserves to be happy. Everyone deserves to be comfortable, Mr. Speaker. My constituents continue to wait. But, Mr. Speaker, the question I would like to ask, how long can my people endure to wait? And how long can they endure to live in such conditions? Most recently, Mr. Speaker, the Minister of Housing, member for Roseau Central, made a few remarks where she spoke of a ministry's performance rehousing on the island. But, Mr. Speaker, what was more unfortunate, my constituency was not mentioned. Mr. Speaker, was my constituency not affected by Hurricane Maria? She also elaborated, the member for Roseau Central, also elaborated on the impact of the housing program had on the communities and the youth. Couldn't the same be done for my constituents, Mr. Speaker, to provide employment for my people, that they wouldn't have to migrate to neighboring islands? Mr. Speaker, I will say that this is not merely a political issue. It's a reality on the ground. that my constituency has an issue which the government has failed to address. And Mr. Speaker, you know what is mind-boggling? Is that the condition of which the people dwell. It's been 8 long years, Mr. Speaker. My people, they feel forgotten, they feel unseen, and they feel as though their suffering since Maria has been normalized and dismissed. Absolutely no citizen, Mr. Speaker, should feel that development is happening everywhere except where they live. Mr. Speaker, notwithstanding all what was being said, and it was done with good intent, not to attack the Minister for Housing, nor the government, but to make proper representation on my people's behalf. Because when millions, Mr. Speaker, are allocated for housing, no community should be left standing in the ruins of yesterday's disaster. I stand at this moment to give my full support to the people of my constituency, which includes Salisbury, Kulibistri, and Monrachet, who are in dire need of this housing program. Mr. Speaker, until every constituency, including mine, receives its fair share of housing support, our work remains incomplete. I hope that all what I mentioned today will not fall on deaf ears, and that the government take into consideration the discomfort of my people in my constituency of Salisbury, Kulibistri, and Monrachet. As I said, Mr. Speaker, I'll be very brief. Thank you for the opportunity, well, with the absence of the Minister for Housing, and I believe that we should work harder to build a safer Dominica. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Project.
Yes, Honorable Dr. Henderson, you are recognized. You may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, I hope you will permit me to also express my condolences to you on the loss of your staff, and also condolences to her family, friends, and the community. Mr. Speaker, I rise to make a very surgical intervention.
Well,
I am rising to contribute on an item on the supplementary estimates, which was implemented and been implemented by the ministry for which I have responsibility. And I think the Prime Minister, Leader of the House, and political leader of the Labour Party sufficiently covered the supplementary estimates by highlighting and connecting the relationship with the items being brought for parliamentary approval and the development of Dominica. So I will not seek to repeat, except, as I said, for, yes, the area on my responsibility. Mr. Speaker, expenditure, and of course we speak to the supplementary appropriation January 2025 to June 2025. On the expenditure account, D53, project, which is a transmission network for geothermal domestic plants, in the amount of 1.2 million East Caribbean dollars. And that amount went towards the construction and development of a transmission network connecting the 3 hydro power plants, that is Trafalgar, Padu, and Loda, to the geothermal power plants in Loda, to the Domlec electricity network. This transmission line, and Mr. Speaker, before I continue, lest I forget, and I have to face the wrath of my colleague, parliamentary and cabinet colleague, the member of Parliament for the Roseau North constituency, I wish to apologize for the inconvenience, the hardship, and perhaps the occasional harassment caused by the disruption of the smooth flow of traffic through the Roseau North constituency and the occasional discomfort that it created for those who utilize the road from Focole all the way through Center Roma and down the back road. So, Honorable Blanchard, I got your several messages, some of which were in my absence, but were reported to me adequately, and I think I got it very clear. But all the same, I wish to assure you that I have done and continue to do everything within my power to minimize the pain that this inconvenience have caused. But especially on a more serious note, no, Mr. Speaker, especially the proprietor of Lindomat. We really want to apologize to him publicly because we found we stayed there much longer than was acceptable, much longer. And on that point, I think the managing director of GDD was a bit perhaps tired of me calling him, because every time I passed that road, I would remind him that we need to get out of there because it was causing major disruption to the users of the road, and especially going to the hospital. I felt very uncomfortable about that, and we did our best. The contractor responded, and I will not comment on the contractor. I don't think it's proper. But, you know, over time, we raised those concerns. We also have to apologize to the users, especially some people use heavily the road around the Goodwill Primary School, you know, at the back. Some people like to use that road, and I know the inconvenience that have caused even this morning when they got disrupted because there was a no entry sign that was placed way too far. People should have known before entering there. So, you know, we've caused some inconveniences, some disruptions, and, you know, as I say to my friends, we've done everything and continue to do everything, especially in, Member of Parliament for the Roseau Valley is the one I owe the biggest apology, because that is the area affected the most. And I went there up to last night, and I was very upset, and I made a few calls because we should have already covered some of the trenches in the Roseau Valley, especially going up to Trafalgar. From Lily Valley going all the way up, I felt that, you know, it's unacceptable. It's unacceptable, and I reported that. I had a meeting yesterday with the vice president of the company responsible for the transmission line. Well, he had a call all the way in New Delhi, as well as their representative in Guyana, because I felt the local company needed to do better, and I'm not satisfied with the way they have progressed, especially on sealing the road and some of the concerns that we've raised. So I want the public to know that it's not a matter we take it lightly, and especially in the Roseau Valley, there's no reason we should still have these open trenches. And the inconveniences close to the home of Mr. Lambert, I think that junction box there should have been covered a long time ago, and that is totally unacceptable. I'm happy with what the contractor has done from the Trafalgar Power Station, hydropower plant, to just in the intersection to the Walton Wave Road going down there. That was a good job. They were able to put concrete over the trenches, and that's, you know, I think is what I was hoping that they would have done going up the hill. Unfortunately, they said it is not their responsibility, but the general contractor who is to contract the subcontractors doing the asphalting. So it is, I was going to use that expression lest I be quoted, but it's really the asphalt that's the problem. It's not our fault. But we tried our best. We had a little delay in actually procuring. But Mr. Speaker, we really try our best to get that done, and we have been given the assurances that we should complete within the next couple of weeks to have this done. and the inconvenience will be over, and then we'll move into the testing phase, the line pooling phase, and then into the testing phase, which should be completed by the 23rd of January. That's the date I have been given, and I'm hoping that the contractor can stick to that date. I am very happy, though, Mr. Speaker, to report that most of the trenching, the majority of the trenching has been done. So most of the disruption basically will be over soon. It's just a matter of sealing, as I said. There are a few areas, about 500 meters in the valley, Rosa Valley, that we still need to do. That is just around the Coptal, around the junction, with the Loader junction right there. It's just about 500 meters of trenching to be done. And we also have some work to be done in Fokole. As you've seen, we're sorry for the inconvenience that, again, we've caused, but we've tried to minimize that inconvenience right along the port. We tried to do it just around prior to Creole Festival, but some people complained and we had to get the contractors to relocate. So right now you have to take a little pain. We delayed, but eventually have to do it. And you know, I have to thank the Dominican public. We have not gotten the kind of resistance and pushback and complaints that I honestly expected. And I have to say that those of us who live in Metropolis, we have been inconvenienced tremendously. I mean, there are places in New York, I know that construction was taking place for, I swear, a decade. And you always had a detour and a distraction and a movement here and there. Everybody who's gone to New York and landed at JFK and had to go down to the city, you know that inconvenience has been there for over a decade, for example. These things happen. It's the cost of development, and we have to always remember that every time we get that inconvenience. It is the cost of development. Somebody didn't just wake up and decide they're going to mash up the road, just like that. This is not what's happening there. We are doing something that will allow us to achieve at least resilience up to the extent that we get the power to Fokole. That will be the most resilient line anywhere in the Eastern Caribbean. Because it's the first time we're seeing, it is the first time we actually see a country installing transmission lines at that high voltage on the ground, because we have 75% of that line is on the ground. And I'm very happy that we've completed the first segment of that line, which is from the geothermal plant to the hydropower plant in Loda, which is the plant that will be helping to start, will energize the plant so that they can start. And that we are fortunate that it was so close that we can actually get the power plant in Loda, the hydro plant, to power the geothermal plant, which will reduce the cost, the actual cost of the geothermal project. That's what they refer to as a black start. And I was told, excitingly, and I mean, I can't disrespect the parliament, but I was really trying to see if I could sneak out and go to Loda, because I was told that today we are actually energizing the geothermal power plant from the hydro plant in Loda. So that is great news, because we have the commissioning team. They have been on island for the last few days, and they have started. So that once we can energize the geothermal power plant, they will need over a megawatt of power, which is basically what the hydro plant can provide. And they will use that power to go ahead and to begin the actual commissioning process. So the commissioning process will start. It will take 3 months. So we are looking at towards the end of February to see the actual commissioning completed. But they will start getting things going, pressurizing the stuff and testing, and it's going to take quite a bit of work. We hope that we can visit before some of the major works begin, because at that point we would advise against any visits to the plant. And that's why I suspect by the end of this week, it would not be advisable to go there. So everything that we can do, until everything is really done, you know, because we think this is a very, very sensitive stage, and we want to be very careful Public safety is very important to us, but we've been encouraging people to visit. But Mr. Speaker, I just wanted to again highlight what is being done and what have been done so far. So as I said, most of the trenching has been done. A lot of the equipment have arrived. It's some massive pieces of equipment. We expected earlier this week to have most of the equipment for the cabling. So the high voltage and low voltage cables should have arrived, the termination cables as well. The bigger equipment, the switch gear, some of the boxes, and most importantly, the actual substations. We have already installed those that were to be installed in Loda, so we have done that already. We have 3 more areas where we have to install some of our substations, 1 in Trafalgar, 1 in Padu, and 1 in Fokole. All of these projects are ongoing, and we expect again that by early next year, we will see the completion of those facilities. So we will have completion of the facility in Fokole. It's a very difficult, very difficult project because the building that we actually constructing is next to some residential, well, some homes that are on a hill. We have to find ourselves building retaining walls. It's a lot of work to be done. In Padu, that is a major challenge. We're actually building in a hole. I'm not even sure how the guys are going to get their equipment out of there when they're done. So they actually have to build because we're doing a ground floor, a basement, a ground floor, on a first floor for all the buildings because of the amount of equipment that will be placed in those facilities. So the work is ongoing, and once done, at least we will have segment 1 of transmission network done. The next aspect, which is the overhead, we're going to be building these massive structures and running the 69 kV lines, kilovolts, very heavy, and they will be placed on towers. So those towers have to be constructed, and that is where some of the challenge is going to be. That will take a little longer than the initial undergrounding lines with 33 kilovolts. So we are looking forward to that. So that is the next part of this project. But the key thing for us is to ensure that by the end of February, everything is in place so that we can have the actual commissioning, which is a legal concept really, which will allow OMAD to hand over the power plant, well, the power to Domlec. But before that, as long as the lines are in place, we will provide power, OMAD will provide power to Domlec. But the final act will be done by March of 2026. So that is going on pretty good, and I'm really very happy about it. Mr. Speaker, we have so far there are about 100 Dominicans employed with 3 companies. There is CCL in Trafalgar and Padu doing 2 substations and some of the undergrounding of the lines all the way to the Loda Junction. Then there is Regional, which is doing undergrounding from the Loda Junction all the way to Fokole at the Domlec Power Station. And then there is Ace Engineering doing a substation in Fokole. So among themselves, there are about 100, of the 3 companies, there are about 100 Dominicans employed, and there are 35 employees of the Indian company, Talca Peru, which is responsible for the overall project. So we have sustained employment for the last almost a year now, the last 6 months for Dominicans, and which will go up to a next 3 months with those first 3 projects, and then for the other aspect of the project will go till June of next year. So that is also generating some employment and some pretty much some economic activities in the country, because the Indian companies, their workers are renting properties, they are living in Dominica and spending in Dominica, consuming, and all that contributes to the economy. So we are very happy for that. We were able, and I'm very happy, and I have to thank Mr. Fred John for his efforts. We're able to ensure that we keep the subcontracting among local companies versus the Indian company. You know, there are 1.5 billion Indians in India, and only 35 of them came. So that says a lot. And I'm sure the average salary in India is about 12 US dollars a day. And the average, well, the minister for, acting minister for labor has told us that he will be bumping up the minimum wage. And I'm sure that we will see an amount that is much more than 12 US dollars a day for a Dominican worker. So we are fortunate that the Indian company, in spite of the fact that they could, and which is what they've done in Guyana, although I don't know why they did that in Guyana, because, you know, if you look at the demographics of Guyana. But Mr. Speaker, so we're happy that we're able to have them subcontract and create employment in Dominica. And it was, for us, it was a difficult decision to make because they expected that we would have allowed them to bring in about 100 workers from India on this project, and we resisted up to the very end, and we're very happy. That's why sometimes I get angry at our local contractors when they fall short. And that's why I still haven't gotten over the fact that we have not covered all the trenches that should be covered by now. Those that are in progress and have to remain so for a while until the lines are pulled, I can understand that. But outside of that, there's no excuse. But I must say, in all fairness, I'm happy that we are seeing some progress. And as I said earlier, that within the next 2 weeks, we will have this thing settled and we can move on to something else. Well, Mr. Speaker, on a broader point, though, I think it's important for us, and I will not take too much time on this because I will have the opportunity to speak in a more profound way, and I would like to be more structured, and maybe perhaps for once I may ask you to grant me that permission that is very often requested. Although I would prefer to go by way of a statement by the minister, which the standing orders permit the minister to read his entire submission. And so perhaps I will do that at the appropriate time. But I have learned in this business not to celebrate too soon. And I want to also tell my friend on the other side that sometimes we have to bring things by way of supplementary estimate, especially when we're not sure. So it is better to go that route than to put it on the budget and not spend it, because you will come and complain and say we're not implementing. So we brought it in that manner, and I have to say that. But really and truly, Mr. Speaker, we must not underestimate the impact of this project to Dominica's development. And I'm very happy that the Prime Minister spent a few minutes on this matter. Because no country can develop, well, he used roads. And I agree with him on that. But I will add my line that no country can develop without energy. It cannot develop without energy. It cannot develop without power. Now, some people may still be reminiscing and thinking that perhaps we've invested too heavily in this. We should have gone an easier way. But the thing about it is, things are good now in the price of fuel, but we don't know what will happen next month, or next year, or the year after, or for the 25 years for which we will have this power purchase agreement for geothermal power in place. There's no telling. There can be war, even in our neighborhood, and God forbid, I hope it doesn't come to pass. There can be war somewhere else. There can be more sanctions for fuel from oil-producing countries, as we've seen in the case of Russia, because of the Ukraine war. And the price of fuel could surge. Geothermal protects us from the surge in fuel prices for electricity generation. And we have to think about that. I'm not even going into the more complex arguments of balance of trade and currency and all of these things that the economists can speak more eloquently to. But there are far-reaching impact, overall impact on your economy when you are able to secure your own power. That is very important. So I know we'll come to a point where people will be comparing and calculating, and I know it's human for us, but we must not forget that. And we must also, in comparing, don't compare ourselves against ourselves, but compare ourselves with the reality of our circumstances and the reality around the world. And in the case of electricity, if you were to take a quick look, you will find out, by the time we're done, this will place us in a much better place than we were prior to the commissioning of geothermal. I say I will wait until the appropriate time to do that. But I just want to put in your heads that I know sometimes people are looking for things which are not realistic, not practical. And sometimes you see in other people's business, but you don't know what happened when they close their door. A friend of mine used to say, because you see two people passing on their car, you just think everything okay then. I mean, two people now, I don't mean 92 people, two people, no man. To think everything okay. So we sit down and we just see a country and say, oi, Dominica, oi, St. Lucia, oh, Barbados. I found out, for somebody like me who's been involved in the energy business for so long, I found out that one of our neighboring countries, OECS, that they are subsidizing electricity still. That one took me as a shocker. They're still subsidizing electricity. I mean, we stopped that since austerity days of 2000. We stopped subsidizing the price at the pump. The little we do is with VAT, we give people a little break for the first 100 units and so forth. And we force the utility company to bite on some of the cost of fuel and the surcharge. But they actually subsidizing by giving every individual almost 10 cents per kilowatt hour on their bill. So sometimes we look around and we say things, and we don't have all the information, and we're comparing. But the time will come when I'll speak more to that. But I just want to say, I want to thank the government, my colleagues in the cabinet, thank the Prime Minister for staying the course. Stay in the course. This is not an easy thing to do. $40 million US in a transmission network is not a small investment. That's over 100 million East Caribbean dollars. That's a significant investment. And that investment is being made for the benefit of every Dominican. Every Dominican. But it is not an easy choice to make because there are so many demands for so many things in so many communities, so many families in Dominica. And we chose to make that investment. I want to thank my colleagues for that. Even, of course, as I said, some things are very human. So I understand. Some things are very human. But we have to continue that course. We cannot give up. We have to get to Sugarloaf. I will not sit down if I say that. We have to get to Sugarloaf. I see the member of Parliament for Portsmouth clapping. I don't know if she thinks is something we bring in there for you. But yes, we will get to Sugarloaf, and I want you to be there with me, Honorable Shepherd, because we have to electrify our centers, new and emerging centers of development in Dominica. The marina will be all the way in the Cabrits. We already have the Intercontinental. And there, well, the Morocco Hotel and the new and improved, we have to get a new name, we must stop saying that. But we have, that is another hotel that we expect to even expand, perhaps. But we will see some activity there. The demand will grow. We will see the Anichi Hotel which also is along the way. We will see the Tranquility Bay, which is again in the northern side of our power supply. So we need to get that power to Sugarloaf so that we can energize these projects and to create a new boom in the north of the country, where MP, then we can all say is brighter. Okay, we have to get that power to the north of the island. We have to get that power to the north of the island, and I'm hoping by the time the Prime Minister said we're doing the northern road to the airport, by the time we're ready for that, we will be ready to lay our lines so we don't have to create an inconvenience for anybody. And so I'm looking forward to that because we'll need a dedicated line from Sugarloaf all the way to the airport. And will allow us to create in the northeast of the island a nice mini grid that can be powered by itself in the event of a natural disaster. So I'm looking at this as a major development platform for Dominica. Because by the time we add 10 megawatts of geothermal power, we will have achieved 80% of our electricity by renewables. 80%. There's no other country in our region or any other small island developing state, sovereign nation, that has achieved that will have achieved that. So by 2026, the first quarter, we will have 80% of our electricity generated from renewable sources. So the other 20%, in order to achieve it, we have to go to Sugarloaf. And that is where I expect the next few months that we can spend seeing how we can get the kind of investments. We may have to become creative. We may have to utilize traditional sources, bilateral partners, and private sector investments. I think these are some of the options that we must put on the table, but we have to get that power to Sugarloaf. It would be a waste to be standing on all that power under our feet and not to utilize it. We have made the expensive investments, and we have to make it count. And in our design, we design and prepare to ensure that we can easily expand without much more investment. So we don't have more road to make, the road there already. We don't have more platforms to build, the platforms are there to accommodate for wells already in the 3 locations. And we have the infrastructure. So the unit costs will be less. And once we do that, then we can even perhaps reduce the cost of electricity even further and the price that people pay at the end of the month, helping to generate more commercial activities and, of course, reducing the pressure on families. So we have to continue that course, Mr. Speaker, and I'm very happy that progress is being made. And as I said, I would remain only on this item in my contribution to the supplementary estimate. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Frederick, you are recognized. You may proceed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I stand to support the supplementary appropriation bill before this House. And I'd like to spend some time to look in particular at the $15 million that is assigned to the Ministry of Environment, Rural Modernization, Kind of Upliftment, and Constituency Empowerment. So at the center of our national efforts, Mr. Speaker, is the NEP, or the National Empowerment Program. And it has proven time and again in the last 12 or so years to be a platform of empowerment, and especially to our youth, our recent graduates, and also the vulnerable population. It has given, Mr. Speaker, a number of Dominicans the chance to enter the workforce, and I dare say with some dignity, and to learn more skills, and also to contribute meaningfully to our nation. Mr. Speaker, the NEP has always played a major role in the public sector, but I want to zero into on the importance of the program to the private sector. And I speak specifically to small businesses, agro-processors, ICT firms, small shops and enterprises, and these private sector engines have been able to produce and assist in our national growth. Mr. Speaker, the partnership between the program, NEP, and the private sector is very focused, very intentional. It reflects our government's commitment to ensure that job creation is not only the responsibility of the government, but also a responsibility for the private sector. And it reflects our commitment to job creation. And it is our commitment to have a shared effort in growing our economy, and also to empower and innovate and to hire. And this is precisely why this is important, Mr. Speaker. The $50 million speaks to payments of interns under the national program for the period March to June 2025. And so this is already, Mr. Speaker, I dare say, money well spent. And so, Mr. Speaker, in speaking to the importance of the private sector, we are ensuring that the small businesses, especially small and medium enterprises, can have access to human resources. And that's important, Mr. Speaker. We sometimes speak about the finance, the money. We also have to speak in a very profound way the human resource that we're building within the program, Mr. Speaker. And I dare say whenever we speak about the program, we sometimes look at only the external communities and look at the beautification and maintenance program. But this is deeper than that, Mr. Speaker. The private sector, I dare say, is the backbone, one of the backbone to any thriving economy, and we have to keep on supporting in our development. Mr. Speaker, it helps by engaging young people within the private sector. We are ensuring that we have long-term employment. It fuels innovation, we see it very clearly, and also it drives exports and in generally stimulates the economy. So it is therefore essential, Mr. Speaker, that the National Employment Program continues as a serious policy, a fiscal policy, and that it continues to support its growth. And through the program, Mr. Speaker, new graduates, students out of of high school or the state college system, they're able to gain experiences within the private firms and to gain experience. But I dare say, Mr. Speaker, we have to have a call of action to the private firms. I think they have to help us to celebrate the young people within their spaces, and also to highlight the importance of what we're doing for them in the private sector. This is money that they will not normally pull out of their expenses, but we as the government is providing as, I dare say, a subsidy to the enterprises. So we can't underestimate the importance of the monies allocated for the program in the supplementary before us. It is not just, Mr. Speaker, simply employment support. I dare say it is business development support, economic revitalization, and also national capacity in building through the strategic program. Mr. Speaker and members of this House, the funding is so important at this stage of the program, and the question is why do we have to have this money supplemented to the program? And I dare say it is very clear to us that it is very clear and compelling. Our country, first of all, is advancing. We're building an international airport, we're building a marina, we are building highways across the country, we are investing in geothermal. All of these are expanding. Businesses likewise are expanding, Mr. Speaker. The hotel industry is expanding, agro-processing is expanding. And so young people are also building their own capacity to make themselves marketable within the national space. So it's important that we continue to encourage growth and to invest in their engagements. And Mr. Speaker, I dare say, speaking to young people across the country, they want to be engaged. And in their lifetime, they want to be part and parcel of their own development. So the program here is so important. And at the end, Mr. Speaker, our economy really needs a powerful workforce. And the internship program within the private sector and even in the public sector helps young people to take on that responsibility, to become competitive, to innovate, Mr. Speaker, and also to thrive. So this supplementary estimate bill before us really meets those pressing needs, not only within the government institutions, Mr. Speaker, but across the private sector, and it will at the end drive long-term prosperity. Mr. Speaker, I just say that the NEP is not just a social program. It is an investment in our national development. It is a bridge between education and employment, between ambition and achievement, between economic recovery, and at the end, sustainable growth. As we support the measure here, we are really affirming our commitment to strengthening our public and also the private sector. So Mr. Speaker, I give full support to the supplementary appropriation here, but also, Mr. Speaker, to really circle back to the private sector and to say that it directly addresses the cost of labor. It helps to mitigate the skills gap and providing a pipeline of trained, subsidized employees, particularly for micro, small, and medium-sized businesses. And so we see in the supplementary, we do have an exact figure of $14.8 million during this year. And we are talking to also, Mr. Speaker, while we speak about the finance, doing the analysis of the program, we have realized that in the last cycle, we have had 62 individuals graduating out of the program. And so it is not, Mr. Speaker, it's not a case where we have people recycling in the process. In that entire process, we see people graduating out of the NEP. And also they are being integrated in the public sector and also, importantly, the private sector. For this year, we are $108.7 million has been spent on materials and tools. Because, Mr. Speaker, even while we pay wages, we have to ensure that the interns have the tools that they're required to do the work. And so we expended over $108,000 in tools and materials. And also, Mr. Speaker, if you notice during the independence season, there's a movement of interns across the country, trying to ensure that all our highways were well taken care of. And they didn't walk through those places, Mr. Speaker. They had to be transported, so we spent some money as well in ensuring that the logistics and transportation was taken care of. And so we have seen the work very visible across the country, Mr. Speaker. The program presently has over 300, to be exact, 3,587 participants. 733 of those are employed in the private sector. And in the past 12 years, they have assisted the private sector by having an affordable workforce that is expanding, and also there's a high retention potential. So again, I'm going to call on to the private sector to keep on embracing the young folks and to ensure that they can graduate and become part of your enterprises. Mr. Speaker, the intervention at the community and country level is also very, very important. Mr. Speaker, checking out the records from the public works, realized that we have 260 kilometers of main roads. We have 60 kilometers of secondary roads. And all of those roads at this point in time are being maintained by the NEP, the program. So this is a lot of work being done, and I want to call out on the NEP, the work that has been done, the teams on the ground, the wonderful folks in all districts who are doing the hard work to ensure that the country remains clean and green and add some value, much more value to our nature island brand. Mr. Speaker, I made mention just now about the independence celebration here and how the interns were deployed across the country. And so we did many things. Road maintenance, that includes brush cutting, weeding, trimming, overhangings along all of the major highways, and also general beautification efforts, or how do we say, the aesthetics of the country. We went as far as to do drainage, Mr. Speaker, as well, because we realized that one of the major problems we have along our highways is that the improper drainage can cause road collapse and road failure. So also that's done. And Mr. Speaker, our program also assisted with garbage management. And that's a critical thing, Mr. Speaker, across the country. And I just, while I'm on my feet, and while I know that the NEP is also involved in disposal of garbage, I want to strongly call again to the public that we have to play our part in ensuring that we manage from the source garbage, and that the resources that we have at the Solid Waste Management Corporation to process and to deal with the collections, that you can assist us from the home and assist us in ensuring that we can continue to do the work that we do. So, Mr. Speaker, we noticed that teams were deployed from various communities, and there is the presence across the country. Mr. Speaker, specific support is also needed for the locations like the Windsor Park and etc. to make sure the place was clean, and during this season we're able to do that. So, Mr. Speaker, this is money well spent. I did say that we take for granted the work that the program does. And again, I want to circle back to the private sector. You do have people in the small shops, in the hotels, in the restaurants, and they play their part in ensuring that the economy grows, and they also get in meaningful skills. And Mr. Speaker, I just see that while we grow our economy, the young people will be an integral part of those. Mr. Speaker, with these few words, I want to again sound a call to the private sector to ensure that they continue to play their part, and also celebrate and highlight how the program has assisted their businesses. And also, once again, to thank the interns across the country who are very diligent. And despite what is said negatively about the program, they're very proud to be part of it. And are very proud to be part of the development. Very proud to work hard and to also get compensated for that hard work. Mr. Speaker, Honorable House, thank you very much.
So far, in regards to my eyes, I saw Senator Roll, Senator Blackmore, then and then Senator Henderson. But if you want to yield to Senator Roll, you can yield. It's up to you. Okay. So you yield. Okay. Honorable Blackmore, you are recognized. You may proceed. Yes.
I'm going to speak very early because, Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. Let me take this opportunity to actually congratulate again the Minister for Finance for his masterful presentation of the supplementary estimate before this Honorable House, which to me does not require, in my view, any further qualification. But, Mr. Speaker, I want to stand here to say a few things with your permission. And to say that the measure before this Honorable House, which we're seeking to approve, that is consistent with our national laws and part of our tradition, and within the debate within this Honorable House. But, Mr. Speaker, this is not simply a supplementary estimate. It is something to me that gives further credence to our national development strategy, our national resilient development strategy that actually create the roadmap for socioeconomic development as a country post-Hurricane Maria. Mr. Speaker, we are blessed to have in the leadership of this country a political party with a leader who understand the tapestry of life within this community and country, Dominica. Because, Mr. Speaker, when I look at, Mr. Speaker, the provision that is made in housing, Mr. Speaker, and these are experiences and emotion that help define somebody's identity. The fact that, Mr. Speaker, you can no longer wet, Mr. Speaker, when it rains, Mr. Speaker, that's a life experience you cannot forget. And this party understands the tapestry of this country, Mr. Speaker. I understand that, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, it has to be placed into proper context, therefore, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, I heard folks spoke, Mr. Speaker, and I want to commend the government for that. I want to commend the Prime Minister. The Minister for House is not there. For the transformation that has taken place in the lives of the ordinary men and women of this country, the ones dispossessed and marginalized, Mr. Speaker. In housing, addressing frontally, Mr. Speaker, the issue of poverty that's never been experienced in the history of this country, Mr. Speaker. It is because of the Dominica Labour Party government, Mr. Speaker. So this is just not a supplementary estimate. This is the furtherance of what we intend to do to impact on the people's life of this country and to transform this country going forward, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we speak about national development. We talk about sustainable development. We speak about those big words, Mr. Speaker. But those are predicated, Mr. Speaker, on the national security of this country, the peace and safety of this country. And the men and women who have given their lives to this country to ensure this country is secured and peaceful have to be paid properly, Mr. Speaker. And I'm happy, Dr. McIntyre, that the $1.7 million in this estimate, providing for better salaries and allowances, ensuring that the officers get the risk allowance. And I call on the other officers within the public service not to get jealous, because we all are defined by the task that we perform, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, when the officers go out there, especially the guys in the Coast Guard, to confront the criminal elements on the waters, Mr. Speaker, with high-speed boats and high-powered rifles, Mr. Speaker, few of us will do that. Few of us will do that. So we have to be happy for our officers who have decided to make it their vocation to save this country, Mr. Speaker. And that is why, Mr. Speaker, there is no greater demonstration of patriotic attachment to the national flag by those who have given their life in service to the country to serve as police officers, Mr. Speaker, and women and men. I salute you. Within the context of the just concluded police week, Mr. Speaker, we have to give thanks and praise for the officers who have given their life to this country to keep this country safe. And Dominica remains the most peaceful country in the sub-region and the world by extension, because of our men and women of the Common for Dominica Police Force. And I salute the Chief of Police. And I salute all of you who have given your life to this country, not because I once served, but I know what it is, Mr. Speaker. While people are hiding under the beds when it rains and they're scared of lightning and thunder. And not only they cover under the mattresses, but they go under the beds, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, when you have the men and women having to brave the elements, Mr. Speaker, to go out there and to defend this country, Mr. Speaker. For that, I salute you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And it's only the Labour Party administration that has recognized, Mr. Speaker, that the officers have to be paid for the work that they do, Mr. Speaker. And I'm grateful to the Labour Party administration for that. Mr. Speaker, we speak about geothermal development. And I want to big up, again, I've done it all the time, Dr. Henderson and the Labour Party administration, because they say we were wasting money. They say we were throwing money in the valley. And the money could have been done, could have been used to do better for the people in the valley. Mr. Speaker, when you read about Dominica, you often see these things. 290 square miles, the most forested country in this region, all this kind of thing. We will see very soon the only country in the OECS catchment to have a geothermal plant up and running, Mr. Speaker. So we can start these things. And Mr. Speaker, in 1973, I'm not sure, 1973, Mr. Speaker, I'm not sure if Mr. Henderson was born yet. Could have been, yes? Yeah, okay. 73, right. He was born in 1971. But Mr. Speaker, or the Prime Minister, in 1973, Mr. Speaker, the world experienced the first oil crisis. and non-exporting petroleum states made the commitment to depart from the heavy reliance, Mr. Speaker, on fossil fuel. It is 53 years thereafter, isn't that so? Very few have done that. But we are doing that, Mr. Speaker. What we are doing in this country is rewriting the Dominica story, Mr. Speaker. We have to understand that. And every member on that side of the House, fingerprints, Mr. Speaker, will be on every page of that new history book that will be written about Dominica going forward, Mr. Speaker. Because geothermal development, in my view, and not because I was once a Minister for Energy, to me, is one of the greatest achievements of this country, because energy is needed for life, Mr. Speaker. The ordinary man, when he gets his light bill, Mr. Speaker, wants to see how much he has to pay. And think about it. Think about it. When you're talking about building resilience, but let us thinking about decarbonizing the national grid, Mr. Speaker, all those things that we're seeking to do in one form of development by way of geothermal. So I salute this government. I salute Ms. Dr. Henderson for the demonstration of commitment to that. And yes, the party has to do its work in government, but few government did that. Since the days of Leblanc, may soul rest in peace, you had a geothermal development bill in the early 70s. Nothing was done, and we're doing it now. So we are now bringing the power very soon, early next year, to the homes and the business places, Mr. Speaker. That is what we're talking about in the supplementary estimate, Mr. Speaker. And that is development, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, roads. And you see the amount of money that's actually been spent for the East Coast Road. Mr. Speaker, I came from the airport last week. When I saw the intervention, when I saw the works that are currently taking place as you go towards the intersection, towards Pego area. Mr. Speaker, that is remarkable. That is remarkable. We must spend more time in highlighting and celebrating our proud and bright moments, Mr. Speaker. Very few people speak about that, the work that is being done on the East Coast Road, transforming the people's life, as the Prime Minister made reference to. And Mr. Speaker, let us put that into context. In 2008, Mr. Speaker, we did a national road audit. In 2008, 20.86% of our main road, that's it, in aggregate, 20.6% at the time. Mr. Speaker, 75% was in extremely poor condition. That is what we need to know. If we were to put that into, if we were to qualify or disaggregate that, Mr. Speaker, into actual practical terms, we were talking about 80 kilometers of road was in fair condition. Out of the 321 kilometers, only 80 kilometers was in fair condition. Not good, you know, fair. We now put what we call a plan in place. And we said by 2020, Dr. Henderson can recall that, we're going to ensure that we have 100% excellent road condition in this country. But we had a number of hurdles. Erica, Maria, etc. Because by that time, 2015, we were 69% excellent condition, Mr. Speaker. Now, Mr. Speaker, the reason I'm saying that, think about when that road is complete, East Coast Road. Think about the $167 million that has been spent right now to build a road from Loubier going back into Bacatel, Mr. Speaker. Think about the many other road works the Prime Minister just spoke about. It means, therefore, by 2020, before 2030, Mr. Speaker, before 2030, Mr. Speaker, 100% of our main roads will be in excellent condition because of the work that the Dominican Labour Party government has been doing, Mr. Speaker. That is what we're talking about. That is what we're talking about. It's a plan that is well crafted and has to be understood, and people have to buy into it. Because I'm saying these things, Mr. Speaker, because I hear people saying all kind of different things in the public sphere, and they're not mentioning things they're seeing unfolding in the very eyes, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, it is absolutely remarkable, Mr. Speaker. When you take into context, put into context the geopolitics of the world, how difficult things are, Mr. Speaker. And to see that, Mr. Speaker, out of the $107 million that we're seeking approval for in this honorable House, Mr. Speaker, 1% grant, 69% from our local circumstance. It speaks to our national financial and fiscal resilience, Mr. Speaker, and independence, on 40% loan. And I think we have to celebrate these things, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, as I close there, Mr. Speaker, because I intended to be very, very, very short, and I said that, Mr. Speaker. I want to say that when you hear a number of people talk, and we must re-examine the virtues of life and what we give credence to. And I'm saying that for us to understand, especially in a country that is challenged like Dominica in terms of topography, that the most important virtue of life I've learned, because I'm according to a leader, the leader of Zimbabwe, Uganda, as a sick re-election, he's talking about the youth. He said he's a former youth. He was once a youth. So you know, okay? And I have learned, Mr. Speaker, that the greatest virtue is not the car you drive or the house that you have, you know. It's time. It will take time for you to achieve. And I'm saying that within the context, Mr. Speaker, to underscore the fact that it is difficult to develop a country like Dominica. Development is a long, taxing process, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, you have to have the grit and the commitment and the will to serve, Mr. Speaker, in order to develop a country like Dominica. To the extent to which, Mr. Speaker, if you give me permission, that as we are rewriting the Dominica story, a number of people criticize a number of things that the government is doing. You heard the Prime Minister spoke about so many culverts that had to be installed in the East Coast Road. And when you take a road going back to Blenheim, it's an next story by itself. You get my point. And that road, I know that we had done some assessment when I was a minister from Brajab going all the way back into the Lapin area, Dr. Henderson. A wonderful road. One is constructed in Castle Bruce, Mr. Speaker. These things are not easy to undertake, Mr. Speaker. And that's why it's important for us to understand that we must demonstrate that level of patience and to appreciate the commitment of this government and our benefactors and continue to trust this government and to provide this government with the funding in housing, in our road development endeavor, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, I believe that this country is on the move. It is one of my greatest Calypsonian, Mr. Speaker. He was called Calypsonian Mighty Spark. Actually, he won the Calypso Crown 3 times. I think that's something we have. And at the time, the national budget of this country was $25 million. Can you imagine that? And at the time, may so rest in peace, Mr. Liebman was putting in place, electrifying the communities, trying to build the road from Portsmouth into Roseau. And he wrote a song. To me, that song should be actually revisited, Mr. Speaker. Because when you listen to that song, it gives you a historical view of the country's development, capturing a moment at a time. It says Dominica is on the move. Well, Dominica on the move. Mr. Speaker, I'm blessed to be still alive and to see some of the things that we should have seen many generations before unfolding right now before our very eyes. And it's a total difference, Mr. Speaker, from what transpired 40 years ago, Mr. Speaker. Dominica is definitely on the move, Mr. Speaker. And when all our roads will be finished, and we'll be able to transform Grand Bay into a real city, Mr. Speaker, with our new road network, Mr. Speaker, highway, when we'll be able to drive, Mr. Speaker, from Pokase to go into La Plaine or the Kainago territory. And this country is one of the only countries in the region with multiple arteries, you know, Mr. Speaker, by way of road network. In some countries, Mr. Speaker, is west, east, you know. But we will be in a position whereby, yeah, no south, no north. And we're just branching out. I'm not going to call country name because man is going to call me phone and say election campaign. Understand? So I'm just saying, Mr. Speaker, think about it. We'll be able to have multiple options from Rosa to go to the airport. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. And that is how you define thinking being a development plan. Thinking being in a development plan. Mr. Speaker, I support this measure. There are other measures before this Honorable House. There are certain things I would like to say in terms of how we have emerged in other aspects, but I shall rest my case there for now, Mr. Speaker. I support this measure before this Honorable House, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, I move that this Honorable House be suspended until 2:30 this afternoon.
Seconded, Mr. Speaker.
It has been moved and seconded that the House be suspended until 2:30 p.m. this afternoon. Those in favor? Those against? The ayes have it. House stands suspended until 2:30 p.m. this afternoon.